Welcome once again to another edition of Shelf Life Book Reviews Online. Thank you very much for taking the time to watch my videos. Hopefully you will find them informative and the books that I'm mentioning worthy of purchasing. They are very highly recommended. This time out we have two nonfiction books for your perusal. The very first one is Spider-Man, A History and Celebration of the Web-SLINGER, Decade by Decade. And this was written by Peter A. David and Robert Greenberger and updated by Matthew K. Manning. It is published by Epic Inc. and it retails for $53. As one who grew up in the 60s, comic books were an important part of my life. I at one time bought quite a few of the DC comics: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Flash, Green Lantern, etc., etc. And then Marvel came on the scene around 63, 64. And my attention was suddenly riveted to Marvel. And one of my favorite comics happened to be Spider-Man. Peter Parker, aka Spider-Man, was the nerdy science guy, and he was bullied by a lot of the kids at school. And actually, Spider-Man appeared in Amazing Fantasy, issue number 15, and it was so well received that he got his own series a few years later, and it was the brainchild of Stan Lee and Steve Ditko. And for years and years and years and years, Spider-Man was one of the go-to comic books in the Marvel Universe. This book, for those who grew up with Spider-Man or came on board much later in Spider-Man's life, will find this book totally fascinating. It goes decade by decade. It reprints classic covers of Spider-Man, and it tells you, all about the major villains. Of course, there was Dr. Octopus, there was the Vulture, the Green Goblin, Hobgoblin, the Sandman, and so many more. And it is really a treat to take this walk down memory lane decade by decade. There are a lot of interesting things that happened during Spider-Man, aka Peter Parker's life, including the death of Gwen Stacy, which really revolutionized the comic book world, because usually in comics they did not kill off popular characters. So Marvel decided to kill off Gwen Stacy, and it changed Peter Parker's life totally. He later, of course, met Mary Jane Watson, and they married. Now, there are so many elements to the Spider-Man universe. There his Uncle Ben, who was murdered. The night that Peter Parker let this thug run past, and it was because of the death of his Uncle Ben that he decided to become Spider-Man. Now, he lived with his Aunt May, kindly Aunt May, who he did his best to keep a secret from. She was also part of the universe. She even married Dr. Octopus at one time. And so there have been many different versions of Spider-Man, the clone of Spider-Man. So this book is very thorough. So if you grew up with Spider-Man, like I said, or you were introduced to him much later in life, this is definitely a book that you should add to your collection. It is very, very highly recommended. And the second book of note is Weather, A Force of Nature, Spectacular Images from Weather Photographer of the Year. This is published by the Royal Meteorological Society, and it is published by Firefly, and it retails for $35. This is a fascinating book. Every year there's a competition for the best of weather photos, and this competition has been an annual thing. In 2016, they only got something like 800 entries. Well, this time out, they got something like, I think it was 7,500 photos from photographers around the world. So it was very, very difficult picking out the best of the best. But this book is the perfect coffee table book. It is a book, some coffee table books you just glance at briefly and you thumb through it. Okay, this is nice. But in this book, page by page, you will linger on every single page because the images in it are so spectacular. You'll want to view every aspect of the photos. Now, the book also talks about climate change and what it has done to the earth. So a lot of the pictures in the book are a result of climate change, global warming, and other aspects. But let's just say if you have children who are interested in the world around them and the weather, this is definitely a book that you will want to give to them as well. Leave it out on your coffee table. Anybody who visits will definitely want to view it because, well, I can't show you every single page here, but what is there is just absolutely breathtaking. They're full and sometimes 2-page photos of the best of nature. I don't know if you can see this as well, but these are storms, tornadoes, floods, snowstorms. It really covers all aspects. And I'm sure that the judges had a difficult time picking out the best of the best because this book definitely has dozens of photos, like I said, from 29 countries around the world, different weather conditions, and it is totally, like I said, a wonder of nature, really. Weather, a force of nature. Let me just quickly turn to one more page. You get the idea. You know, the 3 pages that I've shown you are only a very small example of what you will find in this book, and it's a bargain. $35 is certainly a book. If you're looking for books to give as gifts, this is the perfect gift for the nature lover. So anyways, those were the 2 books I wanted to draw to your attention. Spider-Man and Weather. Quite diverse topics, but still both highly recommended. So hopefully you will like them. Send me your comments about them. So until we meet again with more nonfiction, and we will the next time, stay safe, stay sane, stay social distancing, and stay in touch. Bye for now.